It was pretty early on in my consulting journey that I saw opportunity to look at consulting through a different lens. I had been completing my executive masters in business up in Brisbane, and that involved me going up to Brisbane once a month. And over that time, I developed an incidental mentoring relationship with the bus driver who would take me from the car park to the airport. And that gentleman's name is Ibrahim, and he's a core member of our team now.
How I came to work with CRSE Group is, for me personally, very interesting. So I moved to Australia just over 3 years ago. I had degrees in law and I'd worked with different research organizations overseas, but I really struggled to find a job here in Australia. And then I was essentially driving a bus in one of my jobs, and that's how I met Carmel Riley, our director at CRSE Group. We got talking in the bus, and I told her about how I've applied for 200 jobs or something, and I just wasn't having any luck.
Ibrahim was a highly skilled professional who had been facing a number of systemic barriers to his career opportunities in Australia, and was working with me for ages about how he could get his foot in the door in the public sector, how he could get through to interview. And we got to a point where we'd run out of ideas, and it was the moment where the last idea I had was about he needed to consider changing his name on his CV to reduce the likelihood of that recruitment bias, that I realised I had to do better. And if we really wanted to combat recruitment bias, then we needed to create that solution.
And that really got a conversation going, and she had a consultancy, but it was a one-man show at the time. But that conversation just built to thinking about how we can do things better.
And that's really the story of our consultancy model, and the idea of having a small team of professional people who have been facing barriers to employment to join the consultancy and basically go through a transitional process where they get paid at a professional market rate from the outset to contribute to projects that we work on. They get mentoring along the way from within the business. They get to develop their own networks, professional referees and locally relevant experience. And the idea is that at the end of that transitional period, they either have continued on in their own business, or they have transitioned into mainstream employment, either within our consultancy or with an external employer.
Carmel had, I suppose, her own journey in this, where she wanted to help people who had professional experience but were struggling to break into the employment market. And yeah, that got a shared journey going, where Carmel Riley today is expanding and going from strength to strength.